In 1914, Sir Ernest Shackleton set off for Antarctica. He was sailing on a ship, fittingly named the Endurance. His goal was to be the first person to cross the continent, a truly historic feat. But what he found instead? Well, it became maybe the greatest survival story ever told.
And that's really the heart of this explainer. It all boils down to one question. When everything that can go wrong does go wrong, when you're pushed beyond every conceivable limit, how do you survive the impossible? Shackleton and his crew were about to find out the hard way.
So here was the original plan. And honestly, it was mind-bogglingly ambitious for the time. We're talking no Gore-Tex, no GPS, no satellite phones. The idea was to land at Vassal Bay and then trek 2,900 kilometers on foot straight across the entire continent in about 120 days. No one had ever done it. It was the last great prize of polar exploration.
Now, at their very last stop, this little outpost of civilization called South Georgia, the local whalers gave them some pretty stark warnings. They said the ice in the Weddell Sea was the worst they'd seen in decades. They told Shackleton, wait, don't go. But he didn't listen. He decided to push on.
And this is the exact moment the entire mission fell apart. They were just a single day's sail away from their landing site, when the pack ice, this dense field of frozen sea, just closed in around them like a fist. The Endurance was frozen solid, stuck. Their journey was over before it even really began.
For 9 months. Think about that. For 9 long, agonizing months, the Endurance wasn't a ship anymore. It was a prison. It was just locked in this massive sheet of ice, drifting wherever the current took them, a tiny, helpless speck in a completely white, silent world.
As the brutal Antarctic winter descended, the ice pressure just got worse and worse. The ship started to groan and splinter, these horrifying sounds echoing across the ice. And you can just feel the despair starting to creep in. It's captured perfectly in this heartbreaking log entry from one of the crewmen, Tom McLeod. And then the end came. With the sound that the men said was like cannons and breaking bones, the ice finally pierced the ship's hull. It began to sink. Shackleton gave the only order left to give: abandon ship. They were now 28 men, completely stranded on the ice, just watching as their ship, their home, their only link to the world, was swallowed by the frozen sea.
So the grand mission to cross Antarctica? That was over. A completely new one had just begun, and it was far more desperate. Just survive. They were lost, floating on a chunk of ice in the most hostile place on the entire planet.
Shackleton's leadership here was just incredible. He